Welcome to the Nitpicking Nerds Commander Tune-Ups, Episode 10.
Double digits.
We're your host, Beezy.
Joe Cherries.
That's who we are. I don't know why you got all surprised. Like
I don't get to say my name anymore.
That's it. Well, you'll get back to it eventually.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, this series, we take your user-submitted decks, and we tune them up under your restrictions of cost, not wanting infinite combos, or whatever restrictions you might have for a deck. Maybe you only want creature cards. That could be a restriction.
True.
That'd be a strange one. It'd be hard to win, but could be one.
Today's deck that was submitted is by our one and only patron. Now, we're not saying that becoming a patron directly results in a deck video, but we had to do it for this guy.
He's the best.
Adam Rhodes.
He's our favorite patron of all time. Not even close.
That joke's never going to get old.
Until we get a second patron, then we can't do it. Because we can't literally say he's our favorite.
Can't alienate half our patrons.
Yeah, I know.
Then we'll make jokes like that. But he has a Mizzix, the Izmagnus deck, and we're going to take a look at it. It's pretty combo heavy. Reminds me of our second tune-up, Wart.
Yep, this is definitely a combo deck. Why don't you read Mizzix? Oh, well, hold on one second. Before you read Mizzix, we have $50 to $100 to work with in upgrades here.
True. And now I'm going to read it.
Now you can read it.
Mizzix is 2 blue-red for a 2/2. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell with converted mana cost greater than the number of experience counters you have, you get an experience counter. Instant and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast for each experience counter you have.
So, this deck...
Spells deck.
This is a spells deck that lets you combo for life. I believe there's 45, or 48. There's a lot of
believe there's
sorcery.
40 or more spells.
There's more than 40.
Deck.
I can't remember. I looked earlier, but I can't remember. I think it is 45.
It's at least 40.
That's a high percentage of a deck. I mean...
Definitely a high percentage of a deck.
It's a lot. I mean, one of any type of card. Or instant sorceries being 2, but
Yeah,
they're
so
really one.
We're casting spells. We're storming off. We're making mana. We're going infinite. All of the trappings, all the trappings of a normal storm deck you hear.
Yep, so it's a storm type deck for the most part. There's a lot of other things you can do that are cool in here because of the commander and
And we
its
threw
ability.
in some flair, obviously.
And we obviously threw in some flair. So let's go right into it because Beezy's making jokes about it.
Oh my god, I wasn't even making a joke about it.
No way.
I meant Flair.
No way.
I didn't
you weren't
mean
making a joke.
One of our cards for making mana. Mana Flair.
Yeah, our first category is making mana, and Mana Flair is one of them. You're a combo deck.
I am?
When you're doubling your mana, you're getting more advantage than your opponents are. Your opponents will be putting like, whoa, I put 10 creatures into play this turn. It was crazy.
Wow.
I won on my
then,
next turn as soon as I untapped.
Or you play it and just win the same turn.
Yeah, that's also possible.
If you have 10 lands in play.
Yep.
You're just like,
yeah.
You're dead.
Yeah. So
Shall
Mana
we read
Flare is 2 and a red for an enchantment that basically whenever you tap land for mana, whenever any player taps land for mana, they get another mana of that type. Pretty simple.
Don't you mean whenever either player taps a land for mana, each land produces 1 extra mana of the appropriate type?
Yes.
How many Magic cards have the word appropriate on them?
Probably only ones from Alpha and Beta.
Probably.
But yeah, this is a cool card, and that was the Alpha Beta reading that BC read. That's one I put on. I put that one on the paper because I really enjoy the word appropriate being in the text.
It's a good word.
Quite funny.
Solid word. A+.
There's also, on a side note, speeds up EDH a ton. If you don't enjoy like slow games, you can just speed up. No matter who's gonna win, they're gonna win 10 turns sooner now.
Okay. For the record, though, I am never playing this on turn 3 and passing. I am never playing this when I can't take advantage of it. Think of it like a ritual, where add 1 to your mana pool for each land you control, and then if you have ways to untap lands, which we do, then you go crazy. So I don't like. You can obviously have fun with it, but like if you're being selfish, don't play this if other people can use it.
I kind of like the way it speeds up the game, but
that's a good way to die. I think
it might be a good way to die.
If you're already down 3 players to 1, and then you make everybody double, then you're down 6 to 2.
So a basic thing, because this is a storm deck.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on, obviously.
For making mana, yes.
For making mana. Well, we have the rituals. We have the very basic.
Which ones?
Well, let's start with the basic package. They're in most storm decks. You've got Desperate Ritual and Pyretic Ritual, which in this deck are exactly the same.
1 in a red, add 3.
Seething Song, 2 a red, add 5. Then we have some cooler ones that aren't in every storm deck. We have Inner Fire, 3 a red, add a red mana to your mana pool for each card in your hand, which could be a lot.
It's pretty wonky. I like it.
There's some cool ways to draw a lot of cards, like
We'll get to it.
Blue Sun. We'll just mention it. It's worth mentioning.
Ooh, little teaser. Little teaser.
A little teaser of what's to come.
Mana Geyser. My personal favorite
Beezy, if he's... I like this card. It's really cool. But Beezy will fight for it to be in every deck.
No, I don't. I fight for it to be in cool decks that are cool. Every lame deck.
I think it's only like our second time using it, to be fair.
No, I think I just like this card.
We've used Perpetual Timepiece way more.
3 times?
Yeah, I think it's 3. It might be 4.
I don't know.
That's
almost half.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Anyway.
You like Perpetual Timepiece.
Mana Geyser, 3 red for a sorcery. Add red to your mana pool for each tapped land your opponents control, which can easily be... I cast this card a decent amount. And it's like at least 15 every time.
Yep, you get a lot of mana from this card, and it lets you go a little crazy.
Yeah, if you copy it, jeez. And this deck is a good way. You basically, once you get going, you have all these experience counters. There's no colorless mana in any of the spells you cast. So this is like red, add 10 plus mana.
Yep. Yeah, a lot of these will be, like, you'll get the classic, like, taking advantage of, like, reduced cost, just like a Baral would do in Modern.
Yeah, if you
which
get going,
Baral's in this deck.
Yeah, if you get going, just picture every spell as, like, Seething Song costs red.
Yeah, and
now we're really talking.
Yeah, your commander really helps you cast a lot of these spells. Another spell that can be taken down just to 2 blue is Turnabout. Like we were talking about earlier, you have Mana Flare and Turnabout. That's a lot of mana. If you have 10 lands, spend 2 on a Turnabout.
Float 8.
Float,
and then you untap.
Float. How about float 16? Because let's just say you have Mana Flare. Woohoo! Yeah, you can go pretty.
Yeah, this is what we were talking about.
You can go pretty crazy with Turnabout.
But what does it even do?
You can. What does it do? Oh, well, why don't I read Turnabout? I have the old wording on here too because I thought I enjoyed the old wordings when I was going.
We're just going to bamboozle our opponents.
So let's read the old one. Turnabout. Tap or untap all artifacts, creatures, or lands target player controls. It really says choose lands, artifacts, or creatures.
Yes.
Then target player untaps all of those. But
or taps.
Yeah.
Because the hidden mode in this card, if you're really behind and you can't start them off, somebody goes, all right, make a huge army, and you're like, are you going to attack me? And they're like, no. And you're like, I don't believe you. Before combat, tap your team. It doesn't matter.
It had to play out like that. It did. They had to lie to you.
I'm not going to believe that dirtbag. I don't have any friends that I can trust. Jeez.
You can also copy. There are some copy spells in here, such as
Reiterate.
Yes, and bonus round. So doing this extra times,
I forgot bonus round was in this deck.
Yes, bonus round is really cool.
Makes me so much happier.
It copies the rest. Like whenever you cast a spell, cast another copy of it.
Yeah, this turn
for the rest of the,
that's a good one.
Yep, and Reiterate is a buyback spell.
1 red, buyback 3, copy a spell.
Yep, and that one can be really reduced.
Yes, for the record, buyback can be reduced in Mizzix because you declare costs before they get reduced. Yep. So you say this is what I'm going to cast it for, which is 4 red, and then Mizzix is like, nope, red.
Yep. Yeah. You can go way down.
Buyback is silly in this deck.
Buyback is really good in this deck. We'll probably use it later. We can go over it.
Maybe.
Gaining quick experience counters is our next thing.
What is that, some kind of category?
That's our next category. Is what
I'm
saying.
Right.
Well, so the easiest... usually when you play your commander, you're going to want to get at least 1 experience counter right away.
Yes.
If not 2 or 3.
Right. Here's what I don't want to do when I'm playing Mizzix. I can picture it. now.
Okay.
I'll play a land. Play a land. Turn 4. Play a land. Play Mizzix. It dies immediately.
Yeah.
Who would not kill that? Who is not killing that?
Yeah.
So you need to ramp up early, play some rocks, build your board a little bit. Then you can play Mizzix and get like 2 or 3 experience counters.
Yeah, you want to get at least 1. So some of the easiest ways are cantrips. Mm-hmm. You know, the early game they cost 1. You can cast them on turns 1 and 2 to smooth out your draws, but also you can hold these until you're playing Mizzix on turn 4, 5, depending on what your mana rock situation is, and you can just play a cantrip. The simple ones: Ponder, Brainstorm, Preordain, the classics. But how about if you're casting Mizzix with 4 mana? Is there any type of card that would allow me to get I don't have any mana left.
If this was Legacy, I would say no. But it's Commander, so you can still play Gataxia and Probe.
Yeah.
And then you get to look at someone's hand. Just make them reveal it.
Gataxia was really good in this deck. I like
that card in Commander.
I really like that you can just play your commander, pay 2 life, and get start the experience train right away.
Start it rolling. Because there's ways to get experience counters without your commander in play. We'll talk about those in just a hot second.
Yes. Not many. But
there's a couple.
We cut a few, which we'll mention later.
We'll mention why.
But that's the easiest way. Detection Probe's awesome. It's the best easy way. Just save it from your opening hand, and then when you play him on turn 4, as long as it doesn't get countered, you're going to be free to get that first experience counter, which is such a good way to start the train because there's so many cards that cost generic
something
mana symbol.
Yeah.
And then
And can I just say,
Get the train roll.
cantrips are underrated in Commander. People don't play any.
Yes.
You can throw a couple in every blue deck. You're
Let's just-
just going to be happier. It's just so much more consistent.
Here's something I was just talking about earlier. Me and BZ were talking, not today, but we were talking about how my Bolas deck doesn't have them, and I don't know why. I think I just kind of forgot to include them, and now I'm looking back and I'm like, this. I really want some consistency in my deck, and I think this might be a good way to get there.
I'm not sure why, but I have so much fun casting Preordain. Specifically Preordain, I love it.
Preordain's great. Ponder's great.
I like
Brainstorm's
Preordain
great.
better than Ponder, but not power level. It's just so much faster to go, and it's just like, right there. It's sweet. Let's talk about some more getting quick experience counters cards.
So, we cut Inexorable Tide because we felt it was slow and clunky.
But it's hilarious.
It's not that it's bad in the deck. It's obviously good.
We're making this deck kind of like, just like, we're going to get you. We have like 4 win cons. The original deck had like 20 win cons, and we're like, we have 4. We're like, we're going to draw them. We're going to kill you. You're not even going to know what hits you.
Yep. Inexorable Tide can stay in the deck. It is definitely cool in this deck.
It's just a little clunky. You have to
There
tap
is
out
no
for
denying
it.
that.
Yeah, but I thought it's just like so slow. It's like, all right, guys, here's my enchantment. Now when I start going off next turn, you better watch out.
Yeah, I'm not. And I actually looked. He likes. I think it was the name of his deck.
The proliferation or something.
Yeah, and so if you want to leave it into extra tight, it can stay in the deck.
Right. This is just what we would do.
We cut that, and we cut Volt Charge, I think.
Yeah, the guy with the afro who's like shooting lightning.
It's lightning bolt, but you proliferate.
Yeah,
also.
that card's on screen. Tell me that guy does not have an afro. I know it's the moon in the back, but he has an afro. It looks ridiculous.
I've also thought he had an afro.
Oh, what an
I know
what
he
an
doesn't have an afro.
unfortunately placed like celestial body.
It's not unfortunate. It's an amazingly, awesomely placed.
There's also, for proliferation that we have in the deck, there's Steady Progress, 2 and a blue, proliferate, draw, it's an instant, with great flavor text. More of that strange oil, that's probably nothing. And then Tezzeret's Gambit, 3 and a Phyrexian, which means 0 mana and 2 life if you have enough experience.
Yep.
Draw 2, then proliferate.
Yep. These both get you 2 experience counters usually, depending on
if
when
you're
you're
casting the first 3, then boom, experience, draw, boom, experience.
And it's automatic experience no matter what. If you have 10 experience counters already,
You have 11.
You have
Congratulations.
11. Yeah. So you're just going off. These are good cards. They're these kind of cards, and they're also going to be reduced depending. Like you could have 2 counters, play a 1 mana cantrip that just gives you 2 more things or 2 more experience counters.
Now you might think the difference between 10 and 11 experience counters isn't that high. That's true for Marin. Marin, once you're past 8, it doesn't matter at all.
Yep.
But this deck can go up, like, I'll take 50 because X spells, turns out.
Which is why if you don't want to cut the Inexorable Tide, which I'm mentioning him, because he likes, I think...
You can really go up high with these X spells.
I didn't notice until after we'd already cut it, and we kind of already gotten into the script.
Into the groove.
Maybe didn't want to cut it, but you can go crazy. Like, you can go to 50, and that'll still help your X spells.
Yes. So any X spell you cast, you use all of your experience on X. And then you've paid a cost prior to that, like Blue X gets you an experience counter all the time.
Yep, exactly.
We'll get into those later.
Yep,
We said we'd get into like everything later, but it's all happening right now.
We're getting into it. We're just going to keep going, and we'll get into it.
Yeah.
Eventually, everything will be mentioned.
It'll all make sense.
And then it won't be later. So, we need to protect our combo, and we need to protect our commander.
Yes.
The most basic way in a blue deck to protect anything.
Counter spells.
Counter spells. There's 3 in this deck. We cut regular counterspell because you're not reducing that cost ever.
No, that's not juicy enough for me.
So we cut regular counterspell for Arcane Denial, which in Commander helps to like lose that one out, so you're not losing as much card advantage.
For the record, I think Arcane Denial is better than Counterspell in Commander.
I think it's close
Because
I can see how
if you counter a spell, you're just down a card, and your other 2 opponents are up a card. Now, if you counter the spell and get your card back, they go up 1 card.
they go.
But you're not down a card. You can't afford to lose these cards. It just feels like then that's how you get nothing stranded in your hand. That's how you counterspell. Then you're just like, oh, I don't have anything to do.
Yep, that's completely fair, and a justified reason for why we switched it. Which I agreed with the switch, especially in this deck where Arcane now can be 1 blue.
Other counterspells, we have Counterflux, blue, red. Counterflux can't be countered. Counter target spell you don't control, and it has Overload, 1 blue, red, which is hardly ever going to matter. But now that I think about it, the overload cost is going to be the exact same.
Yep.
So if you have a couple spells you need to counter, just overload it for the same. Yep. And Mystic Confluence, 3 blue instant. Choose 3. You may choose the same mode more than once. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 3. Unsummon a creature or draw a card. Versatile.
This card's super versatile.
And it'll cost blue.
I really like this card.
This I'll pay blue for.
I really like this card in Commander for a lot of situations. It's so versatile that it gets to go in a deck like this and gets to be its protection. It gets to get rid of pesky creatures.
Don't forget you can bounce your commander.
And
you're scared.
It could just be pay 2 blue, draw
This many.
3 cards. That's awesome. This card is awesome. This is an awesome kind of commander. We haven't talked about it too much because it really hasn't been put into many decks. This is an underrated card. I feel like people
It's
don't.
only like $3.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like people don't play it that much, and I really like it.
It's top. I mean, I feel like it's top 5 counter spells.
Yeah, that might be true. Maybe I wasn't. Maybe I'm thinking more our play groups, and like not too many people have it in their decks. But I think this card's an all-star, and
A1.
it's definitely an all-star in this deck with its versatility.
Let's get on to the spot removal because none of these like necessarily remove things. I guess we can read them all. They're all pretty wordy, but you know what they do. So we got Chaos Warp, 2 and a red for an instant. The owner of target permanent shuffles it into their library, then flips the top card. If it's a permanent, they put it onto the battlefield. Otherwise, they stare at you awkwardly and say, "What happens?"
Yeah.
And you say, "Nothing." Shut up about it.
It stays on top of your deck.
Next.
Next card is Capsize. 1 blue. Buyback 3. Return target permanent to its owner's hand.
This one is pretty brutal.
Well, you can reduce buyback. We've mentioned that earlier.
Mm-hmm. This can lead to some no fun zones.
It will this is also a win the card.
Win the card.
Win the game. This is also a win the game card, not a win the card. But this card's really, really good. And also, we have Cyclonic Rift, which is spot removal. And it is used in situations where you need to get like some pesky permanent off the board that's preventing you from winning.
Do you think Cyclonic Rift is good if the overload is blue?
Just blue? Yep, which it can be in this deck.
Oh, man.
Which,
I don't even think of... Oh.
I'm not reading Cyclonic Rift. If you were watching this video, I would be genuinely surprised if somebody who plays Commander and now has chosen to watch our videos did not know what Cyclonic Rift did.
Because
you would be you'd be so innocent, and in such an innocent group of friends that doesn't have Cyclonic Rifts in their deck.
We want to play Commander with you.
Yeah, we want to play Commander with you with your fair decks.
All right, moving on. Oh, it's the last category. You know what it is already. Do we even need to say it?
It's winning the game.
Winning the game.
This deck did it in 50 different ways before. We condensed them and streamlined and put the deck more into like just doing more of the same things like we just said.
Making 2/3 of a triangle with 2 hands. That's what it's really doing.
Yes, it is.
But I think we might have a gourmet bagel on our hands here, though.
You think this is the Gourmet Bagel?
I don't know how it's not.
All right. Gourmet Bagel Award.
Gourmet Bagel Award. Right off the bat here.
Why don't you read it?
Paradox Engine. This card is stupid. It is 5 colorless for a legendary artifact. I forgot this was legendary. Couldn't matter less. Whenever you cast a spell, untap all non-land permanents you control.
Yep.
Oh boy, every spell is a ritual.
So, when I was talking about this earlier, I was thinking like, oh, I don't think we have enough rocks for it. But then I realized you don't need a lot of rocks in this deck. There's a lot of ways to abuse this card in this deck.
Well, you've got a whole paragraph here. Why don't you read one and then I'll read one and then we can kind of work out how this card goes.
You only need like 1 rock, and depending on your number of experience counters, having your commander out, which we're going to assume for all these, your commander's going to be out and you're going to be using the experience counters.
That's the ideal scenario for you.
That's how you're going off with this deck. So, let's start with the first one. Really like this one. You have Capsize in your hand. You have Paradox Engine, Ungilded Lotus, and 4 experience counters. So, now you can bounce every single permanent.
I would not recommend that. I would bounce every permanent that I don't control.
Yeah, that's true. But you can bounce every permanent. I wasn't lying to you. If you have 1 more experience counters, it also nets you mana to do other stuff. You can't technically go infinite.
Because you only have X targets?
You can only do it as many times as you have targets.
How are you not winning?
Also, your opponents are most likely scooping to this.
Yeah, there's no way that game keeps.
Because also when they untap, they play a land, pass, and then you untap again, and you just do it again. You just put all their lands back in their hand.
No, you end untapped. So at the end of everybody's turn, you go, bounce it. Are you sure you want to keep playing?
Oh, it's
bounce
instant.
it. Yep, it's an instant.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, you're gonna end the game.
It's not even close.
That's one of the ways. There's a ton of ways. We'll probably mention. We're gonna go over like 2 more here. 1 more. One more. But there's probably I'm not gonna.
Sky's the limit.
I would guess there's. Different ways.
I mean, there's plenty of non-infinite ways to win too.
Probably 10, 20 different ways to use this card in some combination of other cards in your deck.
This card wins with a ham sandwich. Sweet. You don't really need to put much effort.
This card is really good.
It's the crater hoof of artifacts, as I like to say.
Let's read the number. Read the number. Read the next
7. But now I'll read the next thing. You need 5 experience counters, Mizzix, Paradox Engine, any mana rock, literally any mana rock that produces colors, and Whispers of the Muse. You draw your whole deck.
There you go.
Is that good?
You draw your whole deck.
Is that good? Because Whispers of the Muse is
let's be clear.
5 buyback, 1 blue, draw a card.
Yep, and this is going to put you in a situation where you're going to be able to play another mana rock, and then you're going to be able to generate more mana and get up to the point where you're just going to win.
It's hilarious. Just draw your whole deck. I mean, at that point, you can play Soul Ring. Then you can use the Soul Ring to play it. Is it Signet or whatever? And now you're still like it's insane.
Yeah, you're going to go infinite with this.
Mm-hmm.
And you have like blue sun your deck to
kill your opponents.
Kill your opponents with. Yep.
You also have buyback, capsize.
Let's talk about those X spells.
Sure. We mentioned them. They were like my viewers are probably like salivating.
You get full value out of whatever number of experience counters you have in these X spells.
Experience?
So, the best two...
Experience.
So, when you combo off and you have... So, the best 2 ones in the whole deck are Jaya's Emulating Inferno and Blue Sun's Zenith. So, Jaya's Emulating Inferno is X, red, legendary sorcery. So you can only cast it if you control a legend.
Basically, Baral or your commander.
Yep, but your commander, basically, because you really want to be casting spell when your commander's out and you're getting the most out of it.
When your commander's out, it's easy mode.
Deal X damage to up to 3 targets.
Well, it's convenient that in
player.
typical game you have 3 opponents.
Or you can just remove some things that you need to get rid of.
True.
And it's also up to, so even if there's not 3 targets, you can still just kill one player with it if you need to.
And Blue Suns, you know it. X, blue. Target player draws X, shuffle Blue Suns in. It never goes out of your deck. You can draw it again.
Yep.
Play it early for like 3 or 4. I do that all the time.
Classic. It's a win con. It's a good draw spell.
Yeah, I have 7 experience and 4 mana. I'll draw 11.
It's a very versatile card. Going back into your deck after you cast it is very helpful.
It's just gravy.
Yeah, it's just gravy.
It's just gravy.
Just like this man said.
Why is this category not just called gravy? I don't understand.
When this deck wins, it wins hard.
Oh, I mean, yeah. Forget about it.
All right, in the classic, this is the Storm win con. Like, when you're playing a Storm deck in EDH, you're probably playing this card at this point.
This is in there.
It's the second card from Kaladesh.
Yes.
That is in our win cons category.
Yes, it is. It's the strawberry French toast win con.
Yep.
Not quite gourmet bagel, but it's like below there.
Yeah. We have Ether Flux Reservoir. This is classic Storm.
Prove it.
So, Ether Flux Reservoir. 4 colorless mana. Whenever you cast a spell, you gain 1 life for each spell you've cast this turn. Pay 50 life. Ether Flux Reservoir deals 50 damage to target creature or player.
That never gets old. You can target a creature.
I have never seen this activated on a creature.
In what universe? They're just like, we might as well let them choose.
It's so weird. There's no reason for it not to.
It's exploding the whole world. Might as well hit a creature.
Outside. It's just funny that it can hit a creature. I've never seen it used for that. I mean, you're just going to use this to combo off. I mean, you're going to go ritual, draw a bunch of cards, windfall.
Yeah, preordained. I don't know. Jaya's for like 10. Draw a couple cards. Paradox Engine's out. The game's over. Yep. You don't need to cast that many spells to kill everybody.
Yeah, to kill one player, what you can do is if you have 10 blue mana, not crazy at all to have 10 blue mana.
Not that crazy.
5 experience counters. Your commander, obviously, which is gonna be. We hope it's around. If it keeps dying, that stinks.
This deck can still just win without its commander.
They can.
If you just get to critical mass, you're like, all right, I have too many things. You guys are dead.
Yep. So what you can do is you have those 5 experience counters, 10 blue mana. You can cast Whispers of the Muse 10 times.
10.
You gain 55 life. Draw 10 cards. Which we don't even look at those cards. We're actually drawing them, putting them face
aside,
down,
like necropotence. You just kill somebody first.
And you'll gain 55 life, and you can kill a player. I mean, that's just something.
Seems good to me.
It's just, again, these are some gravy ways to win and kill players. Like, also, this card stays in the field, and 50 life is going to kill almost any player, unless they're in some sort of gain life deck.
We talked about the holding pattern with Wart. Is like let's say you're at 65 life, and someone's like, oh, I really need to kill that Mizzix player. Do you? I got 65 life, and this Aetherflux Reservoir is still in play.
Yeah, you can just you get to just
terrorize people.
You get to hold the whole board captive because they have to do some sort of working together. Yep. Because if they do not, the one player is like, all right, I'll kill your thing instead.
Yeah, it's like friends.
Yeah,
nope, you're dead on my turn. Yeah. You're dead now, or you're dead later.
Yeah. You're gonna gain a lot of life because you can just storm off a lot of ways in this deck. This deck is a storm deck at its core.
We're dirty storm players.
It is at its core. Not a deck I've ever played before,
I've built a couple Storm decks. They're fun. They're just not my personal cup of tea, but I get the appeal.
Yep. I mean, if you like winning big, Storm is winning big. You get to go off, and your opponents get to look silly because they're dying. And then this deck especially kills in so many ways.
Oh yeah,
from bouncing everyone's permanents to dealing 50.
Yes, and I think we are now on to the conclusion.
Oh,
where we will go over the usual stats for you.
Yep. So price of additions.
We said 50 to 100 was our target. Well, where did we end up?
$66.24.
That's so good. How are we so good at this?
And to be really fair, one of the additions was like $20 in Paradox Engine. Yep. So that was one of them.
I am a MTG Finance spike because as soon as it came out, I bought it for $9, and somebody at the counter was like, "What do you need this for?" I'm like, "I don't know yet." And then I got one, needed it for a deck, and now it's $20. So I'm amazing. Is the moral.
To be clear, it's not. He can't call himself a spike. The card was lower than that for a while.
It was, I think, $6 for a while. But never you mind, because I saved $11 if I bought it now.
So, the original deck had 3.48 as its converted mana cost.
Average converted mana cost.
That's its average converted mana cost. Yes, obviously. Sorry. And ours was 3.24. We lowered it, which is always good.
I love lowering. It's such a good feeling to lower the converted mana cost, the average of a deck.
Yep,
you're just like, this deck's gonna run smoother now.
Not
guaranteed. Like, you're just gonna have a better time playing. You get to play more Magic, play better Magic. If your deck's cheaper, it's great.
Yep. And we had 28 total changes.
It's about average for us. We try not to go.
You can put the inexorable time back in.
We try not to go too higher than like 40, because then we feel like we're just like completely changing the deck.
Yeah.
So anywhere between like 25 and 35 is our sweet spot.
Yeah. We can build a deck from the ground up, and we'll probably do some
decks
like that later.
It's tough because we have tune-ups on Monday and then quickies on Thursday, and we're going to be doing a podcast soon
for Saturday.
So if we can like find time, usually it comes out of the tune-ups, or we'll do maybe we'll do a ground up instead. Where someone's like, "Hey, I'm really having trouble building like this new legend. Can you guys help me?"
Yeah, we work. So the trouble always is, goes to school full time, works part time.
I work
works and I work full time. So fitting this in between is tough, but we do it because we love it. This is so fun to do.
I would so much rather be doing this.
Oh, it's so fun to do these, and every episode is a blast.
Every episode is a journey. Let's read the ads and cuts, and then we'll talk about them a little bit.
And we'll do the ads. So some of the ads and cuts things we did, we went up on lands. There was only 31 up to 32. This is a tight.
Since when do we go up on lands?
I know this was we are in the area of we like 34,
33, 34,
33, 34 up to 36 on the high end.
Yeah, my control decks I play 36. Now some people say that's so greedy.
Yeah,
and I say lower your average mana cost, sir.
Yep.
Or ma'am.
We added one land. We, like I said, 31 felt low.
Cut most of the tap lands. Storm does not want tap lands.
The only tap land we did give it was Temple of Epiphany. In 2-color decks, I feel like you want the Scry lands.
It just gives you a little bit of value.
Yeah, a little bit of value for your only tap land. I think we had the bounce land, but
the bounce land's actually just good.
It's good because there's a lot of ways on tap lands and stuff, so obviously good. We said the deck had about 55 win cons.
Approximately 55.
Approximately 55. I wrote that down.
Yeah, there was 1,000 Year Storm, Talrand, Gutter Snipe. There was Swarm Intelligence, the Battle Bond card that's like Sentinel Tower. Yeah. And we were just like, whew, that's so many. There's a couple more Fireballs.
I'm not saying you don't want win cons, because you do. But what are you going to do when your hand is 1,000 Year Storm, Gutter Snipe, Swarm Intelligence, and...
Yeah, so not only did we increase the number of instant or sorceries, which helps Mizzix get more experience counters, but we cut down on the 7 mana enchantments that you can't... Yeah. You don't need 2 of.
Yeah, you don't want to draw early. And we added 4 rocks to the deck.
Because we also added Paradox Engine.
Because we also had Paradox Engine, which... in this deck is insane. It can go off. Is it Signet, Mind Stone, Fellowware Stone, and Guild Lotus were all added to the deck.
Probably should just be in here anyway.
Yeah, and
maybe if Paradox Engine's not for you, you can just cut it, and there's not even really much else.
I think Paradox Engine is one of the best cards in this deck, though.
Well, no, we think it's literally the best card in the deck.
Yeah, we gave
it the Gourmet Big.
We gave it the Gourmet Big Award. So that is this deck.
Yes.
This is Mizzix. This is our tune-ups for it. Jeez, calm down.
Yeah, there's a pile of stuff over it. Whoa. Jeez, what are you, command zoning it right now? Don't steal their thing. They're going to come after us.
I didn't mean to. I'm sorry. All right. So, if you enjoyed this content, make sure to hit that subscribe button.
There's a lot of things they can do. Let's rattle them off.
All right. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button so you can show that you like this video.
I'd love to know.
Yeah, leave a comment below.
If you want to submit your deck list, tapped out link and just be subscribed so we know you're a real fan.
Yep. Leave it in the comments
below.
Yes.
Okay,
Exactly.
you can follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Facebook. You can, if you really like us.
If you really like us.
like-
if you like us,
like if
us.
you're at a sleepover and you get you're playing Truth or Dare, and they go, all right, and you're like,
Who do you really
Dare, and they're like, tell me who you really like, and you're like, oh, the Nitpicking Nuts. Then you can follow us on Patreon.
Well,
That was a really long-winded way.
It's a weird that you said follow. You don't follow Patreon. You can support us on Patreon.
Support us, become a patron on Patreon.
Yep, and you can support us, which helps us improve everything we do.
The studio.
It can help us improve our quality. It helps us.
We're currently floating
focus on
in
videos.
a nebulous vacuum with just a green screen right
Yeah,
now.
this is we literally are in outer space. Help us.
Why would we want to do it from here all the time?
It's so tough. We're running out of air. We have to end this video soon.
It's just like the new Avengers trailer. We're like, I only have a couple days left. We'll think of you when we drift off to
we're
sleep.
with Tony Stark. That's
Okay. This is going to get cut short right now.
All right.
Hope you enjoyed the video. We will see you next time.
Yeah, we will see you next week.